What's up, guys? Mike McIntyre here with All Things Sports, and I'm back today to bring you a unboxing and review of a new release from Nike. So this is a new shoe, something I haven't reviewed before. It's in a brand new colorway that I think looks absolutely fantastic. I think it looks amazing. The entire pack looks really, really good. So this is the Nike Magista Obra II in the Nike Elite Pack colorway. So this is a brand new shoe from Nike. We're going to get them out of the box right away. It's a brand new shoe from Nike in a brand new color, one that I think looks absolutely phenomenal. Comes with a string bag as well, so I'll show you that first. Get the box out of the way. So string bag, just quickly, it's this sort of gray color with a sort of lime green. It may look Volt, like Nike's Volt color on camera, but it really is a little bit more lime greeny than a Volt color. So you've got the Nike swoosh here, you've got the Magista branding running down the front. On the back, it's just that gray color. The strings are black, and of course you get this sort of little pocket here. In all Nike string bags, you can zip it up. It's a little pouch for phone, keys, wallet, anything like that. So that's the string bag. Get that off the side, and then we'll talk about the shoe. So this is the brand new Nike Magista Obra II from Nike. So this is a brand new release, replaced the Nike Magista Obra I. They've Nike's marketed it as a big update in their Magista line. I think they've done what they need to do in terms of tech and revolution, just in order to make the shoe a little bit more modern and change what needed to be changed. So I think they took this shoe. I don't think it's the same revolution that we saw with the first Magista, but I think it's a needed update. I think they focus on things that will make the shoe better. So we're going to do a quick review of this shoe. These shoes are not in my size, so I won't do an on-feet portion in this video just because they're way too big for me. But we're just going to talk about the tech specs, we'll talk about colorway, we'll talk about all the new sort of updates they've done in the shoe, and that will be today's review. So first off, the colorway. So it's sort of a white and gray kind of base. So it's hard to tell. It's not like the Hypervenom is really, it's white, but this one is a little bit more gray color. So the base is sort of that gray color, and it runs up into the back here. That's definitely that gray. The dynamic fit collar is gray with a hinge of that. Again, it's not really a pure white. It's kind of like an off-white, I guess. So you got hinges of that sort of color mixed in with the gray, and then you've got this blue. I call it like a lagoon blue. It really is like a teal sort of color, a turquoise color, that accents it with a little bit more of that lime green and Volt color, bringing it out. So the laces are that sort of lime green Volt color. Got a little bit more in this area, again around the swooshes on both sides, so around there, and then on the bottom around these three studs here are that same sort of lime green color. So not too much to talk about the color. Not too many colors to talk about, I suppose, but the way that Nike sort of mixed them together, I think the shoe looks really, really good. I hope it looks good on camera. I'm not sure what the colors are going to turn out to look like, but overall, this is a solid release from Nike, and I definitely prefer this colorway over the launch colorway. So that's the color. We're going to talk about the upper. We'll talk about the dynamic fit collar, the sole plate, all that sort of good stuff. So again, the upper is Flyknit. So it's nothing new, but they've completely sort of redesigned the Flyknit upper. The overall width of the shoe is dramatically wider than the first one. I think you can almost tell. If you look at it this way, right here at the beginning of that sort of toe box area and around the midfoot, the shoe is definitely wider. So it's built on a wider last, and it's probably going to fit more people more comfortably. So I bet you a lot more people are going to be able to fit into this shoe than in comparison to the first generation. I don't think as many people found that one quite as comfortable. This one will be a little bit wider. It'll still fit people narrower feet, but people with wider feet, I think, will be able to get into it just as well this time around. So they've done that. So the Flyknit is redesigned. I think it's thicker. I definitely think there's more material to this upper than there was on the first generation Magista Obra. So it's redesigned in that sense. They've got these sort of bumps running out through the midfoot and through the upper over here, so it's definitely larger. You've got a little bit more surface area. This is the area that Nike claims will touch the ball. You'll use this part of your foot to touch the ball the most, I suppose. So they've added these sort of bumps. I don't know what to call them. They've added these bumps, and they're a lot bigger than you'd expect. If you can see it from that angle, I hope you sort of see just how much they actually sort of come off the upper, how much they actually protrude off the upper into this sort of space. So they've got really big bumps in the area that you are supposedly going to touch the ball on more, and that's sort of, if you notice, this is sort of like a heat map graphic. So these areas where the heat is sort of on, I guess, that's where you touch the ball most. So you've got these really, really big bumps that are supposed to help, I guess, with touch on the ball. Now I hope once you use the shoe, again, I think this shoe is going to take a little bit longer to break in just because the upper is that much thicker than the first generation. It's not like it's so hard and so stiff that it'll take forever to break in, but it's definitely, in my opinion, there's no doubt in my mind that there's more material here than on the first generation. So I think it will take a little bit longer to break in. Now once they're broken in, I think these will soften up a certain amount too. So I think it will feel very natural on your foot. It might give you a little bit of extra sort of sensation on the ball, a little bit of an extra sort of control element on the ball. I think that's the feeling they're going for. I'm not saying that that will actually happen, but I believe that's the feeling they're trying to achieve. So you've got this sort of raised surface area here that will help with touches on the ball, but again, I mean, that's down to your touch ultimately. I think Nike's just trying to create a certain feel. So that's the upper. The Flyknit obviously continues into the dynamic fit collar. That's still present. It hasn't changed, but they've definitely redesigned the way the collar looks, the way the collar fits. So up the back, you don't have that tab that goes all the way up the back, something I complained about on my first generation Obras. So they've cut it off here. So hopefully that will help with the fit. I don't think it'll irritate the Achilles tendon as much. And they've redesigned how the collar fits. So as you can see, it comes up higher here. Sort of this area will kind of be where your ankle bone is. They'll cut over the ankle bone, come down a little bit, and then again do the same thing on the other side. Now I tried these on just for fun, and again they're way too big for me, but I already feel like this collar design is more comfortable than the first generation. It would be very interesting to see how they feel in a real, like in my actual size, but from what I could tell just trying these on for fun, again way too big for me, but it definitely feels more comfortable. So I think they've done a necessary update. I think they've done a good update, and I think they put a lot of attention, or they focused a lot on this area of the shoe. They tried to continue the dynamic fit collar. They didn't want to get rid of it, but they wanted to make it better, and I think they've made a solid update on that front. So hopefully that works out for most people. So they've kept that. Again, this is all dynamic, this is all Flyknit material. That hasn't changed. It's still elasticated, it's still stretchy, it'll still sort of bounce back to the shape you need it to be. They've just updated the shape of the collar, so that's it. And then the last part, I guess, of the shoe that we'll talk about is the Soleplate. They released this sort of curved Soleplate on the Superfly 5 as well. So they've redesigned the Soleplate. It's an internal heel counter this time instead of the external one on the original Magista Obras. But they've redesigned the stud layout. So you've got them basically in the same spot, but the shape's a little different. They have one edge of the studs that are sort of bladed just to give you a little bit more traction, I suppose, give you some sort of stability to push off. But then 3/4 of the stud is still conical. That way you can pivot. I think that's the idea they're going for. So as you can see, like this edge is flat, but the rest of the stud is conical, and it's the same on all the other ones. This part here is flat, but then around the other part of the stud is conical. So I think they're trying to achieve this sort of hybrid within the stud. They're trying to give you some sort of stability and give you this conical ability to pivot at the same time. So they're trying to get or cover their bases, I guess. So and then you've got this sort of 360 stud lineup, and this is something we saw way back on the 360 Maestries. They released this, I think it was on the Maestry 2s, and they had this sort of, it was triangular. They had 3 studs that sort of made this 360 circle, and they've kind of gone back to that with these studs here. There's 3 large ones, and then like this really funny sort of toe pick stud that they put right in there. They've also, if you notice, this area is kind of like on the Hypervenom. This area is kind of, they're trying to go for that 2-toe design again. So it's kind of like you got an extra piece of plastic here, and then again a little bit on that side. So they've kind of mimicked the Hypervenom in that 2-toe sort of design. And then in terms of the overall sort of Soleplate, you can see, like, I guess this is a sort of large stiffener bar that runs through the midfoot to provide you some stability, but they've curved the Soleplate to sort of fit the natural shape of a human foot. They've tried to cup the heel, give you this sort of curved area in here where the arch of your foot is supposed to be. This is that stiffener bar to give you that stability, and then they've shaped the forefoot to sort of mimic the shape of a human foot. So they've done that with the Superfly 5 as well, and I think they're just trying to give you the feel of a more realistic sort of interaction with the ground. I think they're trying to mimic having a human foot interact with the ground without a shoe on. Imagine how your foot would move if it was just interacting with the ground, if you were barefoot essentially. So they've tried to mimic that sensation with this Soleplate. So I'm curious to see how it will perform. Hopefully I can get a pair of these for myself in the near future. Maybe I can try them on. It's a shoe that I think has some appeal to me. After the first Magista Obra, I kind of said I'm done with that one. It didn't live up to the hype I thought it would, but I think Nike's done a good job with this, and they've sort of reignited my interest in the shoe a little bit. I'd be very willing to try this one out. So maybe one day in the future I'll get a pair for myself. I'll try them out, and I'll definitely let you guys know how the overall fit and feel of the shoe goes. I would let you know, my experience in it, and let you know how this update sort of how does it compare to the first generation, I guess. So that's it, guys. That's my sort of review of the Nike Magista Obra II. I think it's a very solid update by Nike. They've addressed things that they needed to address. I think they've put a lot of attention into the different aspects of the shoe, the collar, the fit, the fly knit, what area of the shoe you touch the ball with, the sole plate. So it's a solid update from Nike. Again, it's 2 years that the Magista Obra has been out, so it's time for an update, I think, and it's a very, very appealing one. So that's it, guys. That's my review of the Nike, sorry, not Hypervenom, Nike Magista Obra II, excuse me, Nike Magista Obra II. So again, that's the Elite Pack colorway. The color is absolutely phenomenal. I think they nailed it with this. It's probably my favorite part of the shoe, to be honest, is that color. Let me know what you guys think. That's my review of the Nike Magista Obra IIs. Let me know what you think. I think they did a really, really good job. Leave your comments or questions down below in the comment section. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There'll be some more videos coming out. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. This was Mike McIntyre from All Things Sports, and take care.